Peace, everybody, and welcome back to the Black Only News and Entertainment Network. Over the past few days, I have discovered a rash of white women here on YouTube talking about the Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf situation. And this one I'm about to show you, this is really disturbing because you can tell that she's inexperienced and she's ignorant as to what she's saying. She thinks she's making great points, but I'm gonna break this down for you guys and let you guys see that she really doesn't know what she's talking about. She's just spouting off talking points that she's heard, and she's spreading misinformation that she's got from this website called the Daily Mail. Anyway, let's get into it. This is the Becky here, and I want you guys to listen to what she has to say.
The name Carmelo Anthony is back in the news. And if you're like me, the first time you heard about Carmelo Anthony was because on April 2nd, he took the life of another high schooler at a track meet. Now, he was being held on a $1 million bond, but the judge said, given that Carmelo has no prior criminal history and given that this young man has not been in any sort of trouble, $1 million is not necessary. So they dropped it down to $250,000, and he is awaiting his trial at home with an ankle monitor under 24-hour supervision. Okay, so you might be thinking that he is at his home, but as this story has unraveled, they have been able to take control of the narrative, and they have tried to make it seem like Carmelo Anthony is a victim in this situation. And because of that, they have almost reached their goal of raising $500,000. And it doesn't seem like they're going to need all of this money for his bond or legal fees. And so instead, what are they doing? It is almost like Carmelo Anthony and his family have gained wealth from the horrendous thing that he has done. So this article that was posted by the Daily Mail says that they are living in a $900,000 home in a luxury gated community where rents are around $3,500. You can see this is a really beautiful house. And their reason for doing
Now, we've already debunked this BS story that this Becky is going with right now, saying that the Anthonys went into their fund that was donated to them and started spending money lavishly on cars and on homes. So again, you can look at this Becky and tell that she's young. If she's past 23 years old, I'd be surprised. But again, she's reading something from the Daily Mail. Now, the Daily Mail is a racist um, news syndication, and it goes out to only racist people, um, or people who don't like themselves, like a Officer Tatum or a Anton Daniels, something like someone. Those type of people will read the Daily Mail, but the Daily Mail is for white racist people, and that's what she's reading from. Let's continue.
this is so that he can be safe. But what is pretty ironic is that some of the residents in this neighborhood no longer feel safe. They also have a white Suburban, a black Acura, and a third sedan parked in the driveway. One resident told Daily Mail that the family just purchased a new vehicle. This looks like it could be the house of a very successful doctor or entrepreneur, maybe a lawyer, but instead it is.
In fact, young lady, it is a house that someone um, can afford, someone that has wealth. The father of the Anthony family is a real estate investor. So yes, they have money, and yes, they're wealthy. And I know that's hard for you and other people to believe of your um, skin tone. It's hard to believe that black people do have money. Black people can afford multiple cars. Black people can afford homes like the one you're trying to say that they're renting off of the money that they were given to through donations.
The house of the family of a murderer. That is how they were able to move in to this house and buy these nice cars in the driveway. A story like
So again, this Becky believes that the Anthonys, because she's read it off the Daily Mail, a racist syndication, she believes that the Anthonys went out and bought multiple cars and this home with the money that was donated to them. I mean, it's miraculous that these people, this Becky doesn't understand that this story has been debunked. But anyway, let's continue.
this makes it seem like all common sense is completely lost. Thankfully, we have this person who, like this post said, the quiet part out loud, and we need to be doing that more often.
So this will all be determined by the jury. If the racial factors were reversed, if a white man.
Now, what she's about to show you is, or let you listen to here, is a as an interview between two people. One of the guys was one of the lawyers for um, O.J. Simpson. Now she thinks she's making a great point here, saying that the African Americans um, are only supporting Carmelo Anthony because he's black. But I want you to listen to what this lawyer is really saying, and this Becky, she couldn't understand how she tried to make a point here, but she couldn't make one because she, like I said, she's inexperienced, she's ignorant, and she doesn't know what she's talking about, and she doesn't know what she's doing.
Thankfully, we have this person who, like this post said, the quiet part out loud, and we need to be doing that more often.
So this will all be determined by the jury. If the racial factors were reversed, if a white man had killed an unarmed black man, everybody would be on the reverse side of this. We live in a society where everything is judged by race. You know, the Bible says to judges and prosecutors, don't recognize people, just do abstract justice. We're way, way, way beyond that. If the racial elements were reversed there, virtually all the people who are calling for him to be acquitted would be calling for him to be convicted, and vice versa. Let's not kid ourselves. We live in a race-conscious society, and jury selection, which, of course, your other guest is so brilliant at and did so well in the Zimmerman case, is determine the outcome of this case, without a doubt.
There's just absolutely no reason why we should.
You see, so she thought she was making a point. She thought she thought she was making a point, but what ended up happening was that lawyer was saying that if everything was reversed, and the people who are saying that he's guilty would say that he's not guilty, and the people who are saying that he's not guilty would be saying that he is guilty. You see, but she thought she was making another point, but she ended up tripping over herself because, again, she's inexperienced and she's ignorant.
Be praising Carmelo Anthony and what he did. And even if he did feel the need to stand up for himself, then he could have handled it in a completely different way and a more positive way. And we should be teaching people how to do that. I mean, the worst case scenario should have been that they got into a fist fight. But what happened?
No. The worst case scenario, it happened. That was the worst case scenario. It was the worst case scenario because Carmelo Anthony, was protecting himself. It was Austin Metcalf and his brother that decided to confront Carmelo Anthony. They're the ones that walked over to Carmelo Anthony. They are the ones who grabbed him. They are the ones who tried to intimidate him. And he told her, "Don't put your hands on me," and he did. That was the worst case scenario. The best case scenario, young lady, would have been for them to just go and get an administrator or a teacher, someone who, an adult who could have went over and spoke to Carmelo Anthony. But they didn't do that.
should have never happened. And this should not be justified. And people who say that they are fighting for justice for Carmelo, I think don't really understand what justice means. Because it doesn't seem very just for a person to be honored and praised for doing something horrendous. The person who should be receiving justice is the family of Austin, of course. And now they are kind of strutting around with these nice suits on and making it look like they're on a set of some type of film.
So this Becky thinks that black people don't own suits or can't have nice clothes, and that the only way for them to have nice clothes would be, of course, if they had to spend, had to buy these expensive clothes with donations. That's what this Becky believes. But anyway, let's continue.
All right. Just follow Becky behind us.
I mean, they're acting like celebrities. Oh, just to ignore the paparazzi outside. Everybody wants to hear what you have to say. Everybody is so interested in hearing your perspective. Just make sure.
You see, Becky, what you don't understand is that the lawyers were telling him not to say a word. That way it can't be held against him later in court. That's what they were doing, Becky. While you're sitting up there trying to say that, oh, he's avoiding paparazzi like there's some type of celebrities. That wasn't the case. What he was trying to do, he was lawyers telling him, hey, look, we're gonna go out here, we're gonna get you into the car. I don't want you to say a word because anything you say can be held and used against you.
You stay quiet and avoid all of the attention for now. What?
Just stay close, okay?
I mean, I can understand not talking to them, but it just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of remorse.
Carmelo, do you have anything that you'd like to say? Carmelo, do you have anything that you'd like to say to the victim, to the family of the victim? Why were you armed, sweetheart? Carmelo, why were you armed at school?
Good questions.
Explain your self-defense. How is this self-defense?
Excuse me.
Well, first of all, he wasn't at school. They were at a track. That's another thing that was said about this case, that Carmelo Anthony had been suspended several times for bringing knives to school. There is no such suspensions for him bringing knives to school. There is no evidence, no proof of him ever bringing a knife to school. This was in a school. This was in school that he brought this knife to. It was a track event, a sporting event that he brought the knife to.
Yeah.
Well, you want to say to the community that's donated?
Yeah. What could you really say to the community that has donated? How do you explain being armed at school? How do you explain this being self-defense? Yeah, most definitely, probably the best thing that he could have done for himself is not say anything at all, because there is no good way to respond to these questions. And also, why are you blogging your time with him as if he is a hero or some type of celebrity when he is just a person who needs to recognize the gravity of his actions?
Yeah, guys, let me be real with y'all.
Well, I'm quite sure he understands the gravity of his actions, and I know that the I hate to say this, but I know that Austin Metcalf understands the gravity of this situation as well. Because if he had just minded his own business, if he had left Carmelo Anthony alone, if he had just went and got a parent or a teacher or faculty member, someone, if he was so bothered about him sitting under that tent, then Austin Metcalf should have went and got someone of authority, someone that, as a teacher or a parent or someone like that. If he had did that, young lady, if Austin Metcalf had went and got a teacher, he'd be eating flavorless macaroni and cheese right now. But instead, he's dead. As simple as that. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for coming back to the Black Only News and Entertainment Network. And Nordic Mariner, thanks for coming through, bro. I appreciate it. I recognize that you were here. I was just trying to get through this story. I got places to go tonight, but I do appreciate you coming through, man. I appreciate all of your comments. Let me, yeah, I've already modded you up. Okay, cool. So yeah, but I mean, it's just the way it is. If if Austin Metcalf had just minded his own business, if he had went and got someone in authority, if he was so bothered by him sitting under his tent, had he did that, he'd be eating flavorless macaroni and cheese right now. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for coming back to the Black Only News and Entertainment Network. Peace, take care, and be safe.